okay, Leslie. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I'm going to firstly apologise if I have to duck off. I've just moved house, as most of you know. And of course, NBN decided that they were going to come between 10 and 12 today. So I might have to duck off at some stage, but I'm going to hopefully be with you for most of the next hour. And thank you and welcome to another Connect and Share. It's number 52. So yeah, amazing. Now, firstly, can I please acknowledge our traditional owners on the land of which we work every day and live every day, and pay my respects to them, elders past, present and emerging, in which we work with to understand more about the land and connect more with the essence and the spirit of the land in which we work. So let's kick off. I've got a blank screen there because I wanted to find out, how is everyone? It's been a hell of a term, a hell of when, can you believe we're now in June? We have end of financial year coming up, and this is a good time to just take stock and just see who's on the line and how you're feeling. And I know some of us have some interesting things coming up in the next week, which we were just talking about a minute ago, but I might start with you, Dave. How are you feeling?
Me, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit for various reasons, not business. Yeah, if I can get through the next week, I'll be all right with that. Yeah, once past catches up with one. But however, I'm moving through employing new people. I've got a new ski school director. I've got a new part-time new business director, manager. So from a business point of view, I'm able to employ leaders. I'm financially, the business is running okay. So
awesome.
Forgetting personal issues, I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah, well done. And fabulous move on the staffing side of things, a challenging environment for everyone staffing wise, and we might go into a little bit of that later on the training side, but so glad to have you here, and please reach out to any of us here if you ever need. Dom, you're next on my screen. Did you want to just say, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm a bit, how do I say it? I'm moving between extremes a bit at the minute. I'm seriously tired at the moment. It's been a big, whatever it has been, at least 18 months. But also there's been some really good stuff going on. We'll talk about a bit about the summit, but even internally within Outdoors Queensland and within the OCA, there's been some really good things going on work-wise. Still, I think David said putting aside all the personal stuff, but I don't know if you actually can ever do that. So I think, there's always things like that collide and sometimes collide spectacularly in your life. So yeah, that sort of thing. I mean, I'm pretty fortunate. I think David just mentioned he's got good staff. Yeah, I've got really good staff within Outdoors Queensland, and also obviously wonderful colleagues at the Outdoor Council level too, Laurie. So looking on the bright side and the support that we get, I think there is there's a lot of things to look forward to. But yeah, I am tired, and awesome. I think seem to be seeing that a bit. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I suppose that's why I wanted to do this quick session, because the more I spoke to members over the last couple of days, and I cannot tell you how many phone calls I've done, but everyone's feeling a little bit the same. And I think this is a good emphasis on, we're not alone, and we've got to use the networks when we feel like that. So hence the quick call out. Helen, how are you going, Dal?
I'm tired too.
we all need to just go bed.
And yeah, I've started running a couple of, I ran one trip about 2 weeks ago, and I've got another couple coming up, and I'm also trying to sell the business more actively now. I know I mentioned it at the the forum a couple of months ago, but now I'm sort of actively putting it out there to see if anyone wants to buy it. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always the challenge.
Exactly, and it's just not a sustainable thing for my family and what have you to keep plugging away, even though it's something that I love, and I'll still keep doing it in different capacities, but can't keep plugging away at going off into the distance, you know, and leaving my family
Yep.
behind anymore. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, the good thing is the more you talk to people, you never know who you're talking to about it, and something might come up. So yeah, keep positive on that, and I'm sure it will work itself out.
And if anybody on the line wants to buy business, you know, it's going cheap. It's good. I'll help you out.
Now I can't scroll down because for some reason I can't see my mouse because I'm on a laptop instead of my beautiful computer. But I think I know Callie's there, and I'm not too sure who else. But how are you going, Callie?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the kind of slower pace. We've come into a week of no programs here at the centre at Jindabyne, and I've been juggling a sort of head office role and working on programs as well. So it's just, been a busy term 1 and 2 like everyone else. So enjoying the minor change of pace for now before we roll into a busy winter program here.
Yeah, bit of a catch-up period.
Yeah.
Awesome. And who else we got there, Leslie? I can't actually see. Speak up if you're there.
Sorry, Greg. We've got Greg on the line. I was just trying to unmute myself.
Oh.
Hello. He's on the line down there.
Awesome.
Wait, I'm here.
Awesome. How are you going today?
I'm good. I'm meant to be on leave today, and I'm working still. If that gives any idea of the current climate, I had to go and pick some stuff up from the office. But yeah, I think a bit like Dom. It's a bit of extremes. It's up and down. There's just so much pressure from so many different angles right now, which makes it really tricky. And I like trying to keep things even, keep things consistent. It's really hard right now to do that. And there's so many people that want so many things, and they want them yesterday. I just had an event that was meant to be run this weekend. Someone contacted us today about an event with a couple of thousand people this weekend, which puts us in a really tough position. So, yeah, it's been challenging to say the least.
Yeah, great. Well, can I say, all of you, well done for being here. And, you know, the nature of just these forums enables us to just connect and share, but also to find out what's happening and how we can help make our lives a little bit easier, hopefully. So I might kick off and look, a really quick reminder.
Laurie,
yeah, Dom.
We didn't hear how you and Leslie are going.
Actually, that's true. I meant to go to Leslie next. So Leslie, you go first.
I'm good. Thank you, Dom, for kicking that in. No, I'm fine. It's super busy here at Outdoors New South Wales ACT with NOAC and all the other stuff going on, but it's pretty exciting seeing that ramp up. And yeah, a little bit tired as well because, you know, the personal life connects as well. I've got 3 children and we're all really busy, and I'm running a half marathon on the weekend, so I'm a little bit nervous. So I could not really prepare,
just to throw that into the mix.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I signed up for that, but anyway, so there's another little thing on the plate for the weekend, so we'll go with that. Laurie.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose my summary is everything everyone else has said, and it's you know, and again, like Dom, it's the extremes because I've moved house in the last week. I've literally probably moved my first box in this time last week, and I still have boxes everywhere, which is really lovely for someone with OCD to work in, and and make sure that the business keeps operating off a mobile phone. So that's sort of been a bit of an interesting week there, but hopefully once the MBN guy arrives today, I'm going to be in a lot better position to get a handle on stuff. But yeah, I feel like I haven't really caught up yet. But as someone said to me the other day, do you really at all catch up? I went, yeah, good point. So yeah, no, look, I love the industry that we're working. I love all the opportunities that we've got. So that's really keeping me going. And like Dom said, the stuff we're doing at OCA is just really great to see the sort of collaboration that's going on, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So thank you, Dom. So quick reminder on COVID, and look, you know, as we were just talking with David, and Greg's down there too, Melbourne's a great reminder for us, or Victoria's a great reminder for us that it hasn't gone yet. And unfortunately, we've got still some alerts on the South Coast, New South Wales. So we all need to be incredibly vigilant and make sure your COVID plans are still in place. You know, this is about not only just protecting you or your family, but it's certainly a lot more, which you can see there on the screen. So yeah, quick reminder from us at Outdoors just to keep those COVID plans happening and rolling, and they probably will for a long time yet. Now I've got to work out, there we go. So OCA Summit, for those that attended, we hope you had a bit of excitement in the possibilities of the industry like we did at the OCA board level. But I've asked Dom to come along today because he's our president of the OCA, and I thought I might start with Dom and his reflection on the 2 days that we spent, and really about why it happened, and yeah, what's next. So Dom, I might pass over to yourself, and then yeah, we'll have a bit of a discussion.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. And if you squint on that screen in the photo there in front of Rebecca, our wonderful facilitator, is actually a lovely image of me that Laurie managed to capture. So I was pretty happy with that photo. I got a cameo appearance. Well, I think it was while I was jibber jabbering. But yeah, I think the OCA Summit was really about how can the national organisation for the outdoors contribute to solutions to some of the issues that have been identified. We did spend a bit of time talking about probably stuff that a lot of people already knew, but it was about getting everyone to think about what the topics that needed to be discussed were, and then also have a whole session just talking about solutions rather than just talking about what should have happened 10 years ago or that sort of thing. I think there's a wonderful, it's probably a Chinese saying about the best time to plant a tree is 100 years ago and the second best time is today. So I think that was a little bit of the approach behind it. So the big part, I think, was really about the collaboration and the expertise of the people who joined us. There were people from literally all over Australia, but also from all different parts of the outdoor sectors, and deliberately trying to use sectors because it is different areas where we use the outdoors to achieve our purposes, and there's different purposes in that, and there's all sorts of aspects. So I think we needed to acknowledge that as well and make sure that the OCA Summit was about all parts of the outdoors. So that was probably a key thing. We did look back on some of that prior work and appreciate the work that's been done, but look at how do we go forward. Large focus, as I said, about improving and taking further steps forward within the OCA, but also through collaboration, because the OCA needs to work with the industry. We can't do anything by ourselves. So that's probably the key takeouts from me, from what I think I learnt from it. Obviously, there was a whole lot of terrific people who joined the summit. Some people weren't able to join, unfortunately, but we're going to look also at how do we work forward, and then also we're looking to form some working groups on some different topics. The 5 topics that sort of were identified on the second day of the one. Do you want me to rip through them, Laurie, or have you got a magic slide?
Yeah, that'd be great, Tom. Yeah, no, so Tom, you go for it.
Yeah. So we talked about, we had 5 different sort of working groups or breakout groups set up in the summit. So there was pay, conditions and retention or attraction of staff. There was qualifications and training and career pathways. There was a group on industry accreditation frameworks, compliance and insurance. There was a group looking at the recognition of the industry to broaden access and inclusion. And there's a group on marketing and promotion of the outdoor industry to the public. So that's the 5. I think that's my versions of the wording. It's probably not exactly right.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah, and it was a whole week and a half ago. So my brain, has moved on a little bit. But it's now about developing these working groups. The OCA board's going to meet, look at how we do this and what we're going to do, and then tap some of the people who are invited to the summit on the shoulder who've said they want to join different groups. That's sort of the idea. And then potentially each group might go, oh, okay, we're still missing someone with expertise in a different area. And they might then, you know, look to develop, to bring in others to help them out. But also there'll be opportunities, is what we're thinking, for other people to give feedbacks to a particular working group. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Where to from here is really the big question of what's the action, where do we go, and how do we make sure there is some real outcomes coming from this summit, which I think Rebecca, who's on the screen there, she did a wonderful job of facilitating these people from all over the place through Zoom, and also Kahoot, which is a pretty funky tool that she used that was all about gathering people's information. And I thought it worked really well, and just getting feedback from people. And yeah, so.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dom. I think you've summarized it perfectly. I can't really add anything to that. I suppose what I was really keen to find out from anyone online, and I know we have two people that were actually present other than Dom and myself, but if you were to ask anything of this process and these working groups, is there something that jumps to mind that you'd like them to address? I mean, something, it might have already come up, but it may not have. So I thought I'd just put it out there. You know, if you're hearing of this amazing collaboration that's happening and some actions which can then sort of set the vision, and we can work out how to make that happen. But if there was anything, yeah, what would it be? David?
Okay, one of the things I've noticed in a number of discussions around the place is that many people, of course, didn't even know it was happening because they haven't been listening. Others don't know what the outcomes of the thing were. I was wondering if we put together you know how you're doing your presentations, but what about if the council put together a short video explaining the bringing together type of stuff, the frequently asked questions, and it can include the key players in the executive in the summit, but perhaps even someone like Richard from the OEG having his say, or a couple of industry people, or a leader out there saying how important this process is going to be for leaders. I mean, only in a short sense. Yeah. Then we wouldn't have to keep repeating ourselves. Yeah.
Which we feel like we're doing.
Well, but I mean,
and hopefully even this recording might help.
That's right. But I mean, it just seems to me if we did that, that could then be on everyone's website. It would also put us on a single framework. Yeah.
No, it's a really good idea, Dave. I think that's something that we certainly, I think we're meeting next week, Dom, or is it the week after? I can't remember. But yeah, as the board, we'll be discussing a lot of different things and how we really start communicating this a lot more, because we heard it loud and clear with the forum we had in Victoria earlier this week, where the communications are certainly required, so that one, we're not doubling up, but two, they're understanding what the process involves and how they can get involved themselves.
Yeah, well, that can be a part of the communication strategy in the Outdoor Council's new strategic plan. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. Anything else come to mind with anyone else? Is there something that you'd like to see come out of this work?
I think the thing for me is a bit of a conceptual mud map of the sector, the organisations involved, and how they're all interconnected. It's like from a government, like with sport, you've got, say, AFL, then you've got underneath it the states and the clubs, and there's a bit of a hierarchical structure. Understanding how that works within our sector and the organisations we have, I think, is a good part, because we've got lots of people in lots of different areas, but I think we're siloed to an extent. And I think then that enables us, from what Dave was saying, a communication perspective, to be able to make sure we can reach all of those silos when we're trying to communicate different ideas and concepts and processes, and actually when we start implementing these things, to reach all of those areas. Because if we get 50% of the organisations I think it will be tough to actually enact the sector-wide change.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point, Greg. And actually, it just reminds me of something even this week that occurred where, and I think we've spoken about this before, but I had someone come to me with an idea and say, oh, I really want to instigate this. And I'm like, okay, let me connect you to the people that are already doing that. Let's not recreate the wheel here. Let's start working together and getting power of voice and stopping those silos from occurring. So very valid point. Thank you. Anything else that anyone wants to mention and that they'd like to see out of the summit? Or out of the process, I should say, not the summit itself. No? Okay, great. All right, well, we might move on. We've got quite a few updates, and I know Dom's got to rush off because he's also got his own forum with Queensland members very soon, but stick around as long as you can, Dom, and go when you need to. So thank you so much again for being there. And I'm really excited about this process and where we go to next. I think there's going to be some good intentional change for the better. So.
Thanks, Laurie.
All right,
before
well,
you
keep going.
move on,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Just wanted to say I should have also said thanks to you for all the work you put into it, particularly, and I mean others on the board did too, but you played a big role in putting it all together and making it happen. So yeah, big thank you to you for that.
Oh, thanks, Dom. It was a team effort, and particularly when we had to pull the PowerPoint presentations together on the end of day one for day two. But no, thank you so much. That's great. And actually, I just thought I'd share this because this was a really interesting diagram that the facilitator came up with, which sort of came out of a bit of the feedback. And I thought that was really interesting, the way that she articulated it. It's stuff that we all know, but how the outdoor experience is based off the three areas of customers, providers, and obviously our paid and unpaid workers. That was highlighted in that aspect of we're trying not to silo in that process of understanding just about paid workers, but also our volunteer network and our community side of the business. And then looking at all those areas in the orange box to make sure we've got a perfect solution. So I thought I'd just share that with you because I think that was quite a good little diagram she threw up within a couple of minutes after discussing with us. Timely, you're on the line, Greg, but not that I want to pick your brain on this, but this is something that certainly came up this week, and there's more and more traction in the media around the issues around insurance, and it's not necessarily for activity providers like some of who's on the line, but just generally people that had been affected by bushfires, which is sort of the accommodations and caravan parks and the likes. Just so everyone is aware of what we're doing as an organisation to support the industry in this, is we've made a lot of phone calls in follow-up to this with the Small Business Commissioner's Office. If you remember, last year they instigated the inquiry into insurance for the sector, for the whole small business area, and how government could intervene with some of that. There is a lot of activity still happening with that, and I've been told that my new contact there has changed, but they are more than willing to come to the forum and share where they're up to with that. And certainly they've been watching this with interest as well. Also, our politicians, we've been sort of speaking to them on it. Nothing that I can share with you at this point in time, but we're trying to cover as many bases as we can to ensure that we have some consistent message in there that we cannot have a lack of insurers that look at this industry. And also for the sustainability of all of us, we need that support. Greg, did you want to comment on any of that from your side of things, or would you prefer not to?
Yeah, that's okay. And these are my personal views. I'm coming as Greg, not Greg from Affinity here. I think I'd just like to clarify that. But I think from my end and what I'm seeing the trends are is it's an underlying economic issue that's occurring and culminating in this. You've got say insurers, when they take in premiums, they reinvest those premiums in the market and get returns on things like bonds and the share market. With the lower investment returns, they've got to make more profit on the front end, on the underwriting end. And unfortunately, the things aren't adding up financially for them. Money out is larger than money in. So they've got to remediate their portfolios to make them sustainable. And I really see insurance as a resource, just like land use, just like the climate. If we keep taking out and not putting anything back in, it is going to fall over at some point. And as an industry, we do have, from a property perspective, we tend to have things in high bushfire risk, high flood risk locations, which makes it really hard. And then from an activity perspective, we do things that we think are normal, but the wider industry, wider public doesn't. And all of those things adding up make things really tough. And from a business perspective as well, we look at the profit margins businesses run on in this sector. Economically for themselves at the micro scale, they struggle to cover those costs and invest in where they need to invest in, which makes it really tough. That's sort of my sort
absolutely.
of
Yeah. Is there any other questions or comments on this item that I can see the chat's got a little icon, but I can't see it. Sorry, David, did you put something in there?
Yeah, I've got a comment, Kath.
Yeah.
Okay, I've lived through, this is the third one of these I've lived through. And as people like Greg and others will tell you, there is a cyclic effect in the insurance industry that basically is around economics and stuff. I think what we need to concentrate as an industry is getting our ship in order, make sure that we've got all our business planning and our risk management and stuff on an organisational basis, as well as good, which can be Peabody assist us in, so that we're seen as a better risk. If we're just we're not putting, I don't think any of us are putting in ideal submissions to insurers. A lot of it at the last minute at the moment. So I guess what we've got to look at is what causes our problems every time there is a slump in the industry, and are there any of those issues that we as an industry can manage? I think there are. We can't manage the bigger ones, but we can manage some of the operational ones. So I think we need to do that from a strategic point of view as a national industry.
Dave,
and I remember, sorry, go on, Greg.
I was just going to say, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, Dave, and our parent company, Aon, also does the health industry, so things like physiotherapists, chiropractors, etc. So with a physiotherapist, they've got a licensing scheme. You've got to have done your course at university, pass your exams, get registered with the association, and then do your continuing development and maintain your registration. If you fail to do that, you're no longer a licensed physiotherapist, which means you're no longer eligible for the insurance programs and things like that. So the industry self-selects who is a physio. In our industry, we don't have that sort of selection program, and then the insurers don't have the same confidence. They know that anyone, whilst they can call themselves a physio, they're not one unless they're a member of the association and have reached certain standards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, I think it was either yourself or it could have been Paul last year when insurance became a topic at these forums, that said, bring your insurer into your business and make them part of your business as you would your bank manager or even your chief of staff. Have them as part of your business so that you're understanding what's going to help in connecting that insurer with the risk and helping guide you to get that relevant insurance. Awesome, guys. Any other comments or questions on this topic? No. Okay, we might move on. Here's a week in review for you. A lot going on. Okay, so the first thing is that we have just instigated a brand new research project, of which is in partnership with CBA, ACA, and the Office of Sport of New South Wales, which is to look at the gaps in schools for outdoor education. What is prohibiting schools looking at extending outdoor education opportunities or even participating in outdoor education? We know as a gauge that everyone's busy at the moment, but this is to help us understand really where the gaps are and how we can bridge those gaps for long-term benefit of outdoor ed. So really looking forward to these results, and thank you to our partners for being on board and helping us disseminate some of the content to camp providers, because they'll be part of this research, so that it will be matched with a lot of content we're going to get from the schools and the camp providers. So if you are a camp provider, you will hear from us very soon, and we really urge you to get involved in this, because this report will certainly benefit everyone. So that's great news, and yeah, look forward to that. We'll be ready by September. Department of Planning, Industry and Environment, I put a new grant out for those that are looking at playgrounds and inclusive play. So the grants at the moment are for upgrades up to $75,000. So if you've got an establishment with a playground, you want to do an upgrade to make it more inclusive, there's $75,000 up for grabs with that one. Or if you want to build one, new facilities, $200,000. So that's a decent amount of money, could certainly give a great playground. So have a look at that if you're interested. So it's under Department of Planning. I think it's under the places area in that department. The other item that's open at the moment is the Greater Sydney Parklands White Paper. Now, if you have a look at this paper, this is about the structure that supports the Greater Sydney Parklands. And I invite everyone who would look at some active recreation activities in these parklands to really look at it and see if it's going to assist that opportunity for the communities of Greater Sydney. So that is open for comment now. I think that closes at the beginning of July. So you've got a few weeks up your sleeve with that one. It'll be on your newsletter today when it comes out. Canberra have reunited the Choose Canberra vouchers. So organisations can now register to be part of that voucher program, and all Canberrians will have access to those vouchers and spend in those businesses. So it's specifically around our industry as well as retail. So please jump in, register yourself, and let's educate our Canberrians on what we have to offer in our outdoor activity space. The Canberra Tourism Awards is open. So this is a strong program around a recognition for those that are doing it really well in the business of tourism. So if you have a tourism operation, you have visitors that come to your establishment, have a look at this program. I will let you know, I've had a lot to do with this program in the past, and it's probably the most highly scrutinised program that exists as far as awards go. It is quite a challenging process to go through. However, I have seen time and time again the benefits of people actually only through applying have improved their business. The questioning around this program is designed to respond in a business plan structure. So in actual fact, as you're applying for this grant, you are either reviewing or creating your business plan. So it's a really great structure. I can't say enough good things about how this program has evolved over the years. And if you're successful at the state level, then you go through the national level as a finalist. And that, I think that's in Queensland this year, Dom. So I think you've got the Tourism Awards up there at the end of the year. So yeah, jump on board if you've, yeah, where it should be. Of course, Dom, of course. Okay, a lot of reminders here. So the Outdoor Education Awards are closing soon. They close on the 19th of June for our states and territory, our state and territory. So if you've got people that you want to nominate for education awards, please jump on and do that nomination as soon as you can. The regional New South Wales grants, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, we had the guys present that opportunity, and this round is primarily around women in sport and recreation. So anything that you can look at to encourage and assist women in active recreation, now's the time to jump in and apply for those amenities and facilities that you need. And how can I go away without recommending everyone to get online and book their early bird tickets for NOEC, the National Outdoor Education Conference. There is only 3 weeks left of your early bird rates. So if you haven't booked yet, now's the time to do it. The full program's up there, and we'll be putting out some more news on that early next week with some content around some of our keynotes, which you may or may not know, but yeah, we've got a great lineup of speakers at this event. So jump on, be part of the industry, and let's meet face to face. The last one there is OCA review is still open. So that's open till the beginning of July. If you're in outdoor education, I strongly urge you to have a look at that and make sure that you're comfortable with its presence in the curriculum and how we can possibly improve that going forward. Any questions on any of this, please just jump in. Coming up, our Connect and Shares. Next week, we actually have a member spotlight, and I'm not going to give away any secrets at this point in time. It is a brand new establishment that has kicked off with some real revolutionary programming. So we're going to put a spotlight on them at the Connect and Share next Friday. So make sure you join us at 10 a.m. for that one. And as I discussed, yes, we're hopefully getting the Small Business Commissioner's Office to come along and give us a bit of an update on the insurance inquiry, and also just any updates on uploads, whichever, on some of the stats that are coming out, and seeing what sort of trends we're seeing. There is also another event that's popped up which has taken my interest, which is called the Better Futures Forum. It's a virtual event in August, and it's around obviously our climate change issues, and brought to us by a member of ours who has just joined, and yeah, it looks really interesting. If you're interested in climate change and some of the things we could be doing in this space, it looks like it's going to be a great event. And just on that, we've got our actually closed, but nominations for our climate change subcommittee. So we should be adopting that at our board meeting next week, and I'll look forward to updating you on who's on that subcommittee. The last event, yeah, mate.
So can I just add, we've actually got Damon from the Outdoors People for Climate Action. He's joining our session briefly today to talk about that Better Futures Forum. It looks really interesting. So yeah, if anyone wants to join our session, not just trying to get our numbers up,
great.
but yeah, we've got him coming in. It's also recorded. You can always have a look at it later. So yeah,
great.
It looks really interesting, that one. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, I had a good look at the program. It looks amazing. Oh, it's good Damon's coming on, so I'll be hopefully joining as long as my internet stays connected. Okay. Sprinter Symposium. So you might know of Sprinter, which is a fabulous sport and recreation research institute out of the University of New South Wales. They've got a program on at Sydney Olympic Park on the 16th of June, and it's basically talking about the latest research. So I'm really looking forward to that one, to see what sort of is coming out from the research side of the sector. So I'll hopefully update you on some of that at a future Connect and Share. But the registrations for that are open at the moment, and they are free. Oh, there's another reminder for you, just in case you forgot about the National Outdoor Education Conference. So make sure you jump in there and be part of it. Now, the final thing I wanted to discuss with everyone is around some of the challenges we've had with accessing staff, but more importantly, how we train them. And I'm continually hearing from members about, you know, I've got the staff, but they need to be trained and they're not ready yet, but I need them and I can't send them away. And I'm caught in this dilemma of how do we make this work. So I've been talking with Skills IQ, I've been talking with TAFEs, I've been talking with everyone about, right, what can we do here? I wanted to ask everyone's opinion on a program that one of our partners, one of our members, Hunter TAFE, has come up with, and to see if this could work for people online or businesses in our sector. So what Peter is proposing is exactly on your screen there. It's a 12-month part-time Cert 4. looking at bushwalking, canoeing, abseiling, or cycle touring. And it'll be a combination of on-campus face-to-face blocks, but blocks to try to coincide with the times that you don't need them the most. And that way the chunks are sort of being delivered together and in one hit, if you like. But then fortnightly online tutorials to keep that consistency of the training through, again, so you're not missing out of them being in field. And then a compulsory attendance to a 5-day trip where they're then being assessed and looking at the gaps, I suppose, from the face-to-face and the fortnightly tutorials. And then a workplace assessment, which would then tick them off as far as the Cert 4 is concerned. I think what Peter has done here is listened to everyone's feedback and tried to come up with a program that could suit in his mind. He's asked me to share that with you to see if this could be something that could work in your own workplaces. So I'd love anyone to jump in and give some feedback, and I'll certainly take it back to Hunter Tafe.
One of the things that's missing in all of our new leaders is the level of competence and experience. Yeah, so I think we need to get out to everyone that's kicking around the industry. I think enjoying it. They need to get out and spend time bushwalking, go out with mates, go out with clubs, do things in their own time to build that competence and experience. You can't do that in a workplace. Yeah, so I mean that's one of the critical factors, I think. And and people might say, oh, well, I haven't got any at the moment. Well, they need to start. Yeah, I mean, at some stage it becomes of value to them.
Dave, how would you see that? Would that be a self-logged logbook type style to be able to assess something like that, or do you just see it as something that's an add-on?
I think logbooks are probably useful in that line and need to be looked at. I think that was being discussed fairly heavily by Wodonga Tafe, by Roo at one stage. So he had some ideas. I mean, obviously, we also need, someone says, I'm doing a lot of rock climbing and abseiling and has a logbook. You then go out and see how well they climb and how well they abseil personally. Forgetting the the leader type stuff. So I mean, you've got to do on site, you've got to check your people, but I think we need to encourage people to get out more. If you're in the industry, to be in the industry, you should be spending every bit of your spare time on a river. And if you've got a high level of personal skills, it's really relatively simple to then train you to be a leader.
Yep. No,
Other way
good.
around, we train people to be leaders in a whole range of training environments, in-house TAFE, but they don't have any personal skills. Or some of them don't. So it becomes the blind leading the blind.
Laurie, is this geared towards people who have done a Cert 3 already? So this is like a continuation, or?
This is actually a full Cert 4, so not a requirement to have done the Cert 3, but certainly that'll be easier if they had done the Cert 3. I don't know what components could be deleted from that, but that certainly could be an option I can throw back to. And
is the idea? Oh, sorry, David. You go.
You go.
Is the idea that they are then employed? So they're doing TAFE and then they're being employed to work for organisations. So I have difficulty seeing how they could be work ready if they're still studying to be working independently.
And I think, this is a conversation I didn't actually clarify with Hunter Tafe if this could be an option for an apprentice as well, or a traineeship, to see if this sort of could work with that. And I know a couple of weeks ago we had Apprenticeship Careers present to us on the work they're doing with some of our operators on getting more trainees in so that they're working and being educated at the same time. Depending on the organisation, like yourself, Callie, I think, you know, you're requiring people already to be qualled before they come in. Some people are willing to work through that qual and traineeship. And I know I've heard from several operators that have said we're having to employ people that are not qualled up yet because we just have no other option. So this is designed to work with those people, the ones that are being put into the roles, and trying to get them up to their qualification during their work and getting that experience on the job to complement that qualification.
Yeah, I think it could work if they are working in an assistant capacity, but I don't see how you can be learning those skills on the job if you're just thrown in the deep end.
Correct. Yeah. And I think that's what it's designed for, is that lower level.
And if we follow the adventure activity standards, which the majority of people at the National Summit seem to think were the things we needed to do, we've got to test competency and experience rather than qualification. And if they've got sufficient competency and experience and have leadership skills, we should have a recognition of prior learning and be able to give them a qualification on the spot in some way. I think this is talking about stepping stones for people that don't have, as yet, qualifications and the experience, and they would be doing a course like this while also gaining their competency and experience. Yes,
absolutely. So Callie, I'm not sure about your centre, but there'll be people maybe even in kitchen capacity, cleaning capacity, that might want to go into education that this could suit if they were looking at getting into that area.
I still think one of the things we need to look at strategically is what level of certification do we actually need. I believe Certificate 3 is all we need for the majority of leaders in our industry that are just doing an activity in a camp or on a tourism or outdoor education thing, forgetting your multi-day type more complex stuff. And if every leader had Certificate 3 competency levels, we would actually improve the standard of leaders in the industry no end. I think I don't believe beginners should be doing a Certificate 4 or a diploma or moving through till they're Certificate 3 and 4 or 5 years of industry experience.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask you, and how much experience. So as you said, 4 or 5 years. Callie, what level are you employing your leaders at?
We require to be a program officer either a Certificate 4 or a teaching degree in a relevant field. A relevant degree. Mostly teachers. Yeah,
degree of some sort. Beautiful. Any other comments or opportunities that maybe we haven't thought of in this space?
I just think this whole area obviously is one of the key components of the moving forward from the summit. So I guess we just need to get everybody to feed their information and their ideas into that working group.
Correct. That's right. No, that's a great point, Dave. And I know sort of Dom did it verbally, but just to reiterate those working groups, that first one is around pay hours and retention of staff. So the working conditions, the pay rates, retention is a big area that's been in a lot of the social media comment of late, but how do we bring that to a level that is somewhat more consistent, because we've got so many different awards and things out there. So that's working group 1. Working group 2 is exactly the one that Dave just mentioned, and that's about training and career pathways. So they were looking at a lot of this type of opportunity in the discussions they had, and hopefully that working group will continue on this, and then we can align them with with skills IQ and the likes to come up with really some actions and make it real. The third one is quite broad and probably had the most people in it, I think, which was around industry frameworks, and that involved the accreditation, certification, insurances, all the different things that we need to supply a more sustainable industry. And a lot of the topics were around, quals, AAAS, and the use of such. The fourth one is around access and inclusion. That was one of the priority areas that people saw that we needed to look more at accessibility and inclusion in our industry, and how do we do that? So again, that working group will concentrate on that one. And then the fifth one, which I feel summarizes everything, which is around the proper promotion of the industry. How do we lift the bar when it comes to the reputation of the outdoor industry? And how do we get it known that, what we do, what we stand for, what we provide, and what the benefits are? So I'm really looking forward to continuing on that one. Yeah, 5 great areas that I think collectively would all agree are great things that we need to discuss and make some actions on. So thank you guys on that one, and thank you for your contribution to this. I'll certainly be sharing this back with Hunter TAFE, and I hope we can trial this just to see if it can be a solution for people, and get some more bums in harnesses and qualified bums in harnesses. So thank you so much. Right, that ends pretty much my content. Is there anything anyone wants to share, ask, or promote?
I've got one. Oh, sorry. Go.
No, go. You
go. One of the things with the majority of our staff seem to be casual, yeah, as in it's a growing group of people in the outdoor industry and in industries generally. And one of the problems that casual are having with all these emergencies is they don't get paid. Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering whether on a national basis, our industry could be suggesting that that casuals perhaps should get a loading that goes to the government. 5% of their money and 5% of our business money that goes into some sort of a fund that can then be used to provide them with dollars on when they're not earning, emergency money and other types of things. A little bit like our superannuation guarantee. Perhaps it's something. Would that work? I mean, I know we're only an industry, but is that the sort of thing that we should be suggesting to government? I would certainly be if I had to pay 10% extra, all of a 10% extra, to go into something like that would benefit my leaders, I would certainly be happy.
Well, it certainly limits your turnover when these things happen as well. So you're retaining your staff with a scheme like that.
And I mean, it would. The other option is for casuals to have the same sort of conditions as other employees, which negates the reason for being casual. But there could certainly be like a superannuation fund. We could run it. The superannuation funds could perhaps run the bloody thing.
Absolutely. No, good point. Thank you, Dave. We'll look into that, see if that's something we can entertain. Stuart, you had one?
Yeah, just an observation I've been hearing from a couple of people. They've been applying for jobs in the outdoor sector but haven't got any feedback from them, so they are looking. Their feedback from them isn't helping.
Right.
Where they were busy for a particular week and not busy for the next 3 weeks, don't know. But I'm hearing from at least 2 or 3 people, if not more, that they're looking for jobs in the outdoor sector but not hearing from the people they're applying to, which doesn't help the industry.
Wow. That certainly doesn't. It's not good customer service for organisations not to even correspond with a thank you.
That's right. Well, even if they do get a job, then what Dave was saying hits the nail on the head, because not every centre is going to be busy all the time. And if you're a casual, then how do you maintain an income, and how do you then retain the staff that you now have onboarded?
Yeah. Absolutely. Really good point. Let's sort of come up with a bit of information that we can disseminate to organisations on that. Yeah, interesting. Were these people skilled and qualified? Do you know?
Yeah, so the couple of the people I've been talking to have at least a Cert 3 in certain.
Yeah, right.
In a few areas, yeah.
Yeah. I can understand. I think someone said to me, you put it on Seek and you end up with 80% from overseas that are irrelevant and obviously can't get in. But you would expect that, people that are local and skilled and qualified, that common
Well, some have level 2 working on the level 3, but they've still got some skill even at a level 2.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At least they've done
really
most things. They just
Thank you
haven't done that. They just haven't done the training. They haven't been put in front of people to train them. Is about the only missing part. And they've got a piece of paper to say they can do it, but they more than likely can do it. They just haven't been given the paperwork yet.
I've got a couple. I use a couple of. I've got a couple of templates. One is for people that have got good qualifications but are really looking for a more full-time job. And I just say, thank you, we're only a small business, doesn't really suit you or what you're applying for, but you might consider the OEG, Outward Bound or whatever. And the other one is that, you need, we're full up, we've got enough leaders. And the third one is that, you need to get some more experience and competence, and this is some of the ways we would suggest you do that, and then reapply in 12 months' time. So, by doing that, it means that if someone sends something, I can read it, I can answer it straight away. Because if that's right, and you're not wasting their time either. But also, if it fits into the "I'm thinking about it" box, it might get to the stay at the bottom of the heap and never get answered. Yes, for sure. Yeah, no, really great practice, Dave. I think that's a really good idea. And I'm interested to hear what sort of areas people are gaining their employees from. Is there an area that's working well for anyone? You're full up. You haven't been applying. I'm putting jobs out at the moment. Cool. Any other questions or comments for today? Otherwise, well, look at that. We're right on time. We'll wrap it up for today. Cool. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for another Friday. I'm looking forward to seeing you next Friday with our member spotlight, which is a secret until that day. And we look forward to seeing anyone at happy hour this afternoon. So 4 o'clock, if you want to join us, the link is on the Facebook page. You can join us and just for a general chit chat about anything and everything. Otherwise, we'll have a great weekend and we'll see you next week.